What is up, my butter biscuits? Y'all, if you guys did not check out my video from the other day where I was talking about James Charles, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and Dylan Danis, check out that video before this one because this is kind of like a little bit of a follow-up, just a little bit. I just feel like this whole situation is getting really messy. I'm sure, obviously, as you guys know by now, if you guys are following the Paul brothers, Logan Paul is going to be fighting Dylan Danis on October 14th, but things are getting really messy. Now, I said in my other video, I was like, okay, this fool, honestly, I feel like he knows what he's doing. He's really playing it up, hyping it up to get people entertained, but now Logan Paul's girlfriend is actually filing for a restraining order and she may be suing Dylan Danis. And I do have to say, and I did mention in my previous video as well too, I'm like, he is like literally non-stop going on Twitter, like literally over and over and over again. Like, I totally get that banter, you know, of kind of like trying to like rile things up, hype things up, and get people excited for the fight. I know that fighters obviously do that, but I'm like, y'all, it is literally non-stop about Logan Paul's girlfriend. And I feel like I don't know, sometimes I feel like with fighters, I wish they can just keep it to that one solid person. Like, say for example, if Dylan is like trying to hype up this beef with Logan, just talk trash about Logan, do you know what I mean? But he's getting so many other people involved, and on top of that too, I feel like the girlfriend, it's kind of like, I don't know, obviously to a fighter that's probably just like an easy target to like make the person mad, do you know what I mean? But I do want to say this, and I did say it in my last video too, I feel like he is really playing his cards right. Obviously there's a lot of people out there that are like, okay, this is just like way too much, way too dramatic. I did say that in my last video as well too. I was like, this is like a whole lot, like the things that he's saying is a lot, but it is really smart. And I do think that the whole, like, I don't know, the company, I think it's called Dazn. Is it Dazn? I don't really know. Well, whoever is owning the pay-per-view for this is probably really liking it because it probably is generating a lot of views and a lot of pay-per-view sales. So he knows what he's doing. This is totally random, but I literally was just wondering, only because I was just playing on shuffle right now before I was filming this video. Kreayshawn came on one of my shuffles. Y'all, I have not heard that song Gucci Gucci in like a good 10 years. Does anybody know what happened to Kreayshawn? Like, I'm sure I could hop on Google and like look for it, but I don't know why for some reason I was like, damn, Kreayshawn used to be like so popular back in the day, and I'm like, wow, she was a one-hit wonder and literally fell off like Gucci Gucci, and that's it. And then that one song where she's like, can I spend the night at your house? I forget the name of that song. Anyways, y'all, so we're gonna be talking about that within today's video. I'm gonna be reading the article from TMZ to do a little bit of follow up, and then I will touch up on the James Charles situation that was brought into this by Dylan Danis, because I'm like, I'm sorry, but that to me, I was just like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, he is literally over here dragging James Charles into this. I feel like the whole situation is really messy, but low-key though, it is kind of entertaining. He knows what he's doing. Anyways, y'all, click the link down below, head over to my second channel. That's my travel channel with my brother. Make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that, and let's go ahead and get into it. You know what, one thing I want to comment on is I really have noticed throughout the days, whenever I started doing commentary here on my channel, as you guys know, before I used to literally only do tutorials and reviews, and then what has it been now, like maybe 2 years? Has it been 2 or 3 years now? Oh my gosh, no, it's probably been over 3 years since I've been doing commentary here on my channel. And I do want to say, like, people obviously talked a lot of trash to me, saying like, oh my god, why do you have to be gossiping and blah 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 blah, and like everybody gossips. I want to throw this out there, and I was having a conversation with my homegirl the other day. I genuinely feel like straight men gossip more than gays and more than girls. I am not kidding you. Like, have you guys ever been to a straight male barbershop? I mean, I know I haven't been there in a good 20 years because I've been bald forever, but y'all, I have been there before, and I'm just like, these men in here just gossip and gossip and gossip, and I'm like, y'all, it is really crazy. And the thing about straight men is they just throw it all out there for like the whole like barbershop to hear, for everybody to hear. And this man also, Dylan Danis, is literally just tweeting after tweeting after tweeting after tweeting, and literally just gossiping. You know what I mean? I think it's just so funny how like straight men don't ever get called out for gossiping, but like gays and girls do. And I'm like, come on, straight men gossip the most. Let's keep it real. Yo, I was about to get into this. I was like, let me just not. The things that I have heard before, just like being at a barbershop with a friend, I'm like, oh my gosh, these straight men are like, woo, y'all. And it's so crazy though, because one incident specifically that I have in mind, there was like, I'm not exaggerating, like about 8 barbers, and all 8 barbers had a man inside their seat. So I'm like, that's like 16 people there, and I'm just sitting in a little waiting area waiting for my friend, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, you're saying this for everybody to hear? All 16 plus people up in here to hear? It's kind of crazy. Anyway, so I'm going to be reading the article from TMZ if you guys are not following with this. Dylan Danis, and I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, because I don't know if it's Danis or Danis, and Logan Paul are fighting on October 14th. And I do have to say, and I did mention in my previous video where I was talking about James Charles and Jake Paul, that he called out, which by the way, if you guys did not see, he basically called out James Charles for signing an NDA with Jake Paul, which is obviously alluding, let's just keep it real, it's alluding, it's assuming that they hooked up or something happened between them. So that's why he was saying he would pay for the lawsuit between James Charles if Jake Paul were to sue James Charles for coming out with what happened with the NDA. Honestly, y'all, like I said in that video, and I'll say it now, I feel like it's made up. I feel like he's just hyping things up. And I think that if you guys did not check out my previous video, I said, you know what, James Charles is the most followed male in beauty. So I feel like obviously he's like an easy target, do you know what I mean, to like help get some traction in. And still, I have not seen James Charles say anything about it, which I'm actually kind of surprised about. Because let's keep it real, y'all. I feel like James Charles really would have like made a TikTok or something about it. But anyways, they are fighting on October 14th. And I do want to say I'm low-key interested in seeing the fight. Only because I said before, I feel like whoever is like hyping it up the most and talking the most trash typically always loses. Like, honestly, how many times have you guys seen on TikTok, on Twitter, on like Facebook reels or Instagram reels of like people talking trash, and then bam, they get their ass beat. And I'm just kind of like, that's what you get. Honestly, y'all, if I were to ever do a fight, I literally probably wouldn't talk any trash whatsoever. I know obviously you have to like do that to like hype it up and to like gain a little bit of like animosity towards the person, so that way you have a little more anger going in towards the fight. But I don't know. I feel like if I were to talk trash, I'd just get my ass beat, and then all those clips will be like playing of me talking trash and then getting knocked out. So I'm like, let me not do that. Do you know what I mean? Because I'd be way too embarrassed. Anyways, this is what the article says right here. Nina Agdal, which by the way, in case you guys did not know, I was seeing this before on Twitter. I was like, oh my gosh, she has quite the dating track record. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that I saw she was like literally even dating Leonardo DiCaprio and like several other celebrities. I was like, girl, good for you. Anyways, Nina Agdal sues Danis over Paul fight trolling, files for restraining order. Dylan Danis, incessant. Y'all, I'm telling you some of these words every single time I read an article. I'm like, okay, probably should have stayed in school. Incessant online trolling, or y'all, my whole thing is like, how come it just can't be like, I don't know, like continuous online trolling? You know what I mean? Why I gotta use this big ass word? Anyways, Nina Agdal has driven Logan Paul's fiance to the point of both suing Danis and filing for a restraining order against him to make it stop. Agdal beelined it to court Wednesday to file documents obtained by TMZ Sports, claiming Danis has posted despicable things about her more than 250 times since his fight with Paul was announced earlier this summer. And y'all, I literally did even say that before this article even came out. I filmed that last video and I was like, he just does not stop. It's back to back to back to back tweets. Like legit, I want to say maybe like 50 tweets within one day, which I'm kind of like, okay, like I totally get like, you know, hype it up, but like Jesus, get a life at the same time. Anyways, in her suit, she says she suffered humiliation, emotional distress, and reputational harm, alleging that one post Danis made on August 11th in particular violated federal and state law. She says as part of the post, Danis threw up a sexually explicit image of her that was taken from a romantic encounter she had had with a person more than 10 years ago. Oh wow, I did not see about that or hear about that. As you guys know, once again, I like to read these articles, like literally, I don't like to read them beforehand only because I feel like, I don't know, I'm like with a friend, you know what I mean? Like talking, chilling with a friend, gossiping with a friend. So I like reading it there on the spot, just so you guys know. So I'm like, first time I read this, I'm like, oh, this is new information. Anyways, Danis posted the photograph entirely uncensored from his Twitter account without plaintiff's consent. Agdal wrote in the suit later that day, Danis reposted the explicit photograph in order to maximize the number of views it would receive. The 31-year-old model claims Danis only agreed to delete it after Misfit Boxing, the organization behind the October 14th Danis versus Paul tilt, threatened to cancel the fight unless he took it down. Agdal added in the suit that many of Danis' other posts have upset her, including a tweet he made on August 28th that she says showed a video of her from more than 6 years ago where she talked about her desire for intimacy during a period of celibacy. Oh my gosh, y'all, I feel like he literally just dug and just posted whatever he can. Like, Jesus. That's what I'm saying. Like, I totally understand the banter. I get it. But like at some point, it's like, okay, homie, you're doing a little too much. She claims in the suit the video has been stored deep in her Snapchat archive, suggesting Danis had hacked her personal account or had obtained the private video from someone who had done so. She's asking for unspecified damages in the suit, but wants no less than $150,000 per violation of the federal law prohibiting the sharing of intimate images. As for her TRO, I literally don't know what that is. Y'all know I'm a little dumb. Let me know down below. She's asking a judge to bar Danis from posting sexually explicit images of her going forward, in the wake of Danis' repeated threats to release further images that could be damaging to Agdal's reputation. For Danis' part, he's been unapologetic over the posts throughout the past few weeks, saying they've been helping promote his upcoming fight with Paul, which that's what I'm saying. I feel like obviously it's a very thin line because I'm sure the whoever's organizing the fight, they want them to like hype it up, obviously, and trash talking is getting the views up. But also at the same time, you're walking on like thin ice. Do you know what I mean? Of really breaking actual laws here, where it's like, okay, come on, they're not going to be able to go through with the fight if you keep on doing this. Danis took to Twitter to comment on the lawsuit, saying Nina Agdal has filed a massive lawsuit against me. She filed a restraining order against me and is seeking prison time, so the fight is in jeopardy if I'm in jail. This is actually wild, but I won't stop. F the system. Come get me. Logan Paul is a dead man walking. We should say the lawsuit doesn't mention anything about Danis missing the fight or being barred from the event, nor does Nina ask for prison time. That's not how lawsuits work. So that is it right there. I do want to say though, as of the time of me filming this video, you guys are probably seeing it a day later, he is still going on and on and on. Like, he literally just posted this. Nina Agdal will be called Karen Agdal till further notice. I didn't even put a ring on it and she's already trying to F me for all my money. Like, y'all, you guys can literally go over to his Twitter account. He is still going. I do want to say it's kind of crazy that I feel like you are literally having this like lawsuit and restraining order pressed against you, and obviously it's making national news here on TMZ, and you're still over here like going and going and going. I'm like, y'all, I really am curious of what you guys think about this. If you guys are familiar, I know obviously a lot of my audience is women, but still all of my homegirls love to watch UFC and boxing. So if you guys watch boxing, what do you guys think about this? Is he taking it too far, or do you guys feel like this is necessary to get the pay-per-view sales up? And then also I want to say this too, maybe I'm just over here playing devil's advocate, I don't really know, but you guys think that there's a part of Logan Paul that actually kind of likes this, because he's like, okay, he's really hyping the fight up, and then he's going to be more like victorious if he does end up beating Dillon Danis. Which, by the way, I do want to say, I mentioned in my last video, I was like, y'all, I watch a lot of like UFC, and after my video I was like, okay, why do I not know who this guy is? He has like 2 million followers on Instagram. Why have I never seen him? But it turns out that he's actually from Bellator, which is another like league like UFC. He did have I want to say 2 UFC fights, but I guess he's stuck with Bellator, so that's where he is from. But nonetheless, I really am curious to see how this fight is going to go. Honestly, y'all, I do have to say, as of right now, I know this is kind of crazy, but a lot of people on the internet are kind of on his side, because you guys know, like, a lot of people don't like the Paul brothers, but low-key, I'm kind of on Logan Paul's side. I'm kind of like, I don't know, like, y'all, I get the banter. I'm not saying, like, I feel like there should be banter, obviously, when it comes down to a fight, so I'm not saying that, don't get me twisted, but I do feel like, first of all, there is a fine line of doing too much, and this guy is making literally, I would say 50 to 100 tweets a day about this. Like, it's literally nonstop, back to back to back, so I'm kind of like, okay. And then on top of that, too, I just kind of feel like he's talking the most trash, and Logan Paul, from what I've seen, really hasn't talked that much trash. So I don't know, y'all. Anyways, let me know if you guys are gonna be watching the fight. Low-key, yeah, I think I will be watching the fight. I'm kind of like interested in this. So make sure you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions about everything, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Peace out, Girl Scout.